started the week going Dutch, so it only makes sense to double it as we crack into another brew from Amsterdam's two chefs. Now, their last brew was pretty alright, so when I saw this little beaut pop its head out of this month's Beer 52 box, I was more than a little hyped. Although, that said, Beer 52 brews do have a tendency of flattering to deceive from time to time. Our last review does bear testament to this. So although I'm not quite expecting another 5-starer, I am expecting it to be something just a little special, as we have today a celebratory brew. So let's cheer to 10 years with the Decennium Falcon, an amped up version of their staple pale, the Funky Falcon. This double Funky Falcon kicked into hoppy overdrive to help celebrate a decade of brewing. A double take on the beer that started it all. Intensely hoppy with a smooth malty mouth, mild bitterness and vibrant fruity and citrus notes, with lemongrass and Kafka lime for a smashing finish. Brewed with a proper heap of hops, 40 grams per litre to be precise, of the Citra and the Sentinel. Fancy that. But for my sins, I don't recall ever having said Funky Pigeon. Funky Pigeon? But for my sins, I don't recall ever having the said Funky Falcon. So I'm hoping this is something of a baptism of fire. Let's spread those dancing wings. Let's get pouring. So it's got a real bright orange on the nose. It's got a real subtle floral blossomy note in there too. And there is a soft, almost pillowy sweetness. And it's got a soft, sweet, almost biscuity, malty sweetness to it. So it is quite soft up top. There's a subtle lychee and a little gooseberry in there. And of course that dominant orange. But those softer, slightly sweeter notes fade into quite a piney grapefruit. And a mild to moderate bitterness grows in the tail, leaving a grassy, resinous bitterness in the mouth. And in that finish, we're being joined by some real malty notes. A subtle barley tea with a little dried fruit in there. You could even dare say a little fruit cakey, with an added straw-like bitterness. And now we're down into the final third. There's a real melon note starting to dominate in those middles, but it isn't quite as fruity and sweet. It's a little on that malty side, and although they may have described it as being over-hopped, for me it's far more on the malty side. Yes, it kicks off with some real classic citrus notes. The orange, the lychee, a little gooseberry, and of course now that melon. It's again very similar to that K's brew we had earlier in the week, in that it's in the tail where the beer truly comes to life, as that straw-like bitterness twists the beer to its will, and those malty fruitcake notes and that malty tea note start to pack out the middles. And although that subtly sweet orange and that bright lychee do carry all the way down, they are quickly buried by said tail. But that said, I am still very keen to keep my eye out for the Funky Falcon, as that extra grain bill to bump it up to 7.5% is probably taking its toll.